Greetings and welcome to the Halloween edition of the Sliders Review. Alright, let's address the elephant in the room. I know it's not Halloween. Alright, that's long past. But when it came to my Halloween videos, I ran out of time and I couldn't upload everything I wanted to. So that's why I'm uploading them past Halloween. But if you stop and look at it like this, at some point in time, it's gonna be Halloween time again, October. So somebody eventually will stumble upon my videos and watch it around Halloween time. So yeah, and I'm here today to talk to you about Resident Evil Apocalypse. This movie came out in 2004, and I remember I saw it in the theater with a friend of mine. And I know a lot of people hate these, like, Paul W.S. Anderson, Resident Evil movies. And I understand why they do. But, when it comes to Resident Evil, I am the outsider looking in. And that first movie had me hooked with the trailer to the point where I just bought it on a whim. And it was the first DVD I ever owned. And, it what got me into zombie stuff. But I do understand the hate that these movies get. Because back when the first movie came out, I don't even think there was no Wikipedia at that time, and me and my friend was researching on the computer and had to go to websites we never even heard of. So we assumed Alice was their version of Jill Valentine, which she was at that time. She was an amalgamation of Jill Valentine, Claire, and that of Ada Wong. And so we were so confused as to what's all going on and everything, because we didn't know nothing about Resident Evil. Then as Wikipedia started coming more available and stuff, and the CGI movies came out, then I started to get an understand of why so many fans started to hate these movies and stuff, especially with the first, because none of the characters from the video games are in the first movie. Paul realized the fan backlash and decided to incorporate a couple of the characters per each movie and stuff, but he changed the personalities of them so dramatically that they didn't even feel like their video game counterparts. And so so it started to alienate the fans even more. But when it comes to me, I do enjoy the first 3 movies only. The rest of the live action movies are complete and utter garbage. It's just a weird amalgamation of what Paul original movies were, his own vision, and that of the video games all smushed together with stories that are not consistent. When you get to Resident Evil Apocalypse, there's no point in even seeing this movie because it's completely retconned from the continuity now. The reasons why the T-virus was created, the people who created it, get completely retconned when you get to the final chapter movie. And it's almost like I don't understand how this man can't even follow his own continuity, because he did not direct this movie. Actually, Alex Witt did, and somebody else directed the third. But then starting with the fourth, I believe, he started to direct every movie after that until the end. So how can he not follow his own continuity and stuff? Every time the ending sets up for the new movie, it gets completely retconned, erased, and then they just do whatever they want. I don't understand. How do they not follow their own logic? So starting with the fourth movie, the acting started to get bad, all around. And it's every new person they brought in, their acting sucked. The story started to get muffled and everything. It just turned into one giant action zombie monster movie and stuff like that. Even to the point where the zombies really don't even show up that much. And it just became this weird sci-fi action thing. And the story just kept getting weirder and weirder and not making no sense. And I was just like, dude, what the heck is going on? And you know, some of those movies I saw in like theater because I was invested and hoping that they would get better, but they never did. And I remember I saw one in 3D because 3D movies were like a big thing at that time. And it just started to even get to the point where people really started hating on the main character of Alice and Mila Djokovic because she basically took over the franchise. And just nothing made sense with those last couple of movies. Like, okay, one thing about that was interesting about the first three is that like say something simple as like their outfits. Like Jill Valentine wears her classic outfit from the video game in this movie, and there's a reason for that. They actually set it up. It's reported she's been suspended off the force, so she's wearing her regular normal clothes. And so when the apocalypse happened, you know, she's wearing her regular outfit instead of her uniform. And then you get to the fourth movie, and she finally shows up after missing the no. Is she in the fourth movie? She's in some movie. I forget which one. It might be the fifth movie she shows up. Yeah, I think it's the fifth movie she shows up. So she missed the third and the fourth, and all of a sudden now she has blonde hair, wearing that purple cat suit, and has like this like mind washing jewel thing on her chest. And that of course is from the video game. But in the movie's continuity, they never explain how she got to that point. And so, like, characters that they will create for this movie, whether they're made up or came from the video game, will appear in one movie, disappear in the next couple of movies, then show back up in the next couple of movies, and then disappear again. And it's kind of like, well, dude, where you been? Like, and you get to like Claire's brother at the fourth movie, and it's like, okay, well, where's he at when Claire shows back up for like the final movie and stuff? And it's like the motives of the characters don't make no sense. But yeah. So I understand why like people started hating on these movies, even people who originally liked it, like myself and everything. It just started to become too cluttered of like crap. I hope my neighbors' voices don't get picked up on this thing. I think they're having like a birthday party outside, which why do it in the front? Do it in the back like a normal family. Anyways, so we get some newcomers in this movie. Mike Epps shows up as an original character named LJ. Originally, it was supposed to be played by Snoop Dogg, but for whatever reason, he didn't make the movie cut and they got Mike Epps, which I'm happy because Snoop Dogg can't act, but Mike Epps is extremely funny. And so like we get like another character named Sophie Vass Furler or something like that. She plays Angie Ashford. And she was the original reason why the T-virus got made. Is to regenerate her cells because she started losing mobility and couldn't walk because her father is in like a wheelchair. Charles Ashford is the one in the wheelchair, and he's the scientist who created the T-virus before, like, you know, the Umbrella Corporation came and took it from him. Now, their last names are based off of characters from like the video game, but not these characters specifically. But they share the same, like, you know, reasons, like their family's the one who created it and stuff like that. I'm still not sure why they just didn't bring in the characters from the video game instead of making ones up, but hey, whatever, you know what I'm saying? And so like Ian Glenn shows up as Dr. Jacobs. Now, no, Dr. Isaac and everything. The reason why he's called Dr. Isaacs is because Jason Isaacs, the actor who appeared in the first movie as a cameo as the scientist who was orchestrating all of this, he was supposed to appear in this movie. For whatever reason, he did not. This came out in 2004, so he was probably doing the Harry Potter stuff at that time. And so like Ian Glenn takes over. And so like we get two characters actually from the video game. Sanina Gullery. I think that's how you say her name. She plays Jill Valentine, and she looks just like Jill Valentine. I mean, she looks just like Jill Valentine. And she said that, like, she even tried to have the mannerisms of Jill. Like when Jill stands like still for like a long period of time in the game, she kind of does like this little wiggle thing. She said she did it in the movie, but I don't see it. But she looks just like Jill Valentine. And they even brought in Oded Fier as like Carlos Ovelia, I think his name is, which okay, Carlos is Latino, but Oded is like Islamic. They couldn't find a Latino actor to play him. I mean, come on now. I like Oded and everything, but why couldn't they just cast like a Latino? But from what people have said, his personality is different from that of the video game. So I'm just gonna take their word for it. And so, like, the only returning character from the first movie is Alice, played by Mila Jovovich, which her appearance in this movie was different from that of the first, and it's made even more apparent when they show flashbacks of her from the first. See, in the first movie, Mila was more full and everything. She's still slim, but she had more full roundness to like her face and like her body and stuff. In the second movie, she's just skinny, like really skinny. And it's very, very, very apparent and stuff. And it makes the disbelief that she's supposed to be the super strong person when she's that skinny, but she's enhanced, so yeah. But then come the third movie, and every movie after that, she gains her weight back to having more of that round fullerness and stuff. And so I'm not sure why exactly she slimmed down for this movie. And yes, once again, she gets nude in this movie. We get to see just her chest this time, as opposed from the first movie, we saw like a little bit of her chest, like a side boob, and a little vagina monologue, which I still remember to this day. When I was in college, I had this on DVD, the first movie, and I played it on my computer because I didn't have a DVD player at that time. And my friend, who's bisexual, she made me rewind that side boob scene over and over and over again. So yes, women can be just as perverted as men. Don't think they cannot. And so I was confused when this movie came out because I thought like Alice was like a Jill Valentine type person, or Jill herself, just renamed Alice because, you know, she lost her memories and stuff. But then they brought in the real Jill Valentine. So I was really confused. And so I'm all like, oh, I guess Alice is going to kick the bucket in this movie, which I'll get into a little bit later because I'm still in shock and disbelief. And so like, basically, this movie takes place minutes or at least hours after the first movie. Because you remember, like, you know, in the first movie, the ending, she came out and then the city is like completely dead and she arms herself. And so, like, we see the events of what happened while she was in the laboratory being experimented on. And so the city has been overran with zombies, and I love the way how it's been overrun. We get to see it at night, you know, and I just love it. Like, you know, there's zombies everywhere. There's people running there. Everybody's in like chaos. And what I love even more is we see the police fighting the zombies, and we see the Umbrella like agents fighting, like, you know, the zombies and stuff, which in most zombie stuff like The Walking Dead, you never get to see the law enforcement or military or nothing like that fight like the zombies. Not even in Fear the Walking Dead, really. And so it was nice to see that in everything. And I really love how the zombies overran the streets. And so like the police force is, you know, the stars who came from that of the video games, but not the actual characters, came from like, you know, the video games, and they're just being overrun and everything. And so like it's reported that Claire's brother might be dead, but then he shows up in the fourth. And so like it's utter chaos. And I just love like that scene where that woman is running up the stairs, the zombies are coming after her, and Carlos and his friend like help save her, but it's too late, and she jumps off the building because she doesn't want to turn into that of a zombie. But one thing I don't like about this movie is the way the zombies are portrayed. There's like, okay, the zombies when they walking and doing this stuff, the camera is sped up and to the point where they're like blurred, and it's weird. And some of the action scenes are like that as well. It just feels awkward and strange. But this movie is action packed. It's an action packed sequel. The action is very well done with all the cameras twisting and turning and always jumping from one scene to another. It has that nice flash effect to it, but it's so sped up that you really don't really know what you're watching when you're seeing the action. And so like Umbrella has taken over, and it's weird how Umbrella acts like a rogue military force and the country just allows it. And so the outbreak cannot be contained. And so that's when Umbrella like gets all the scientists like Charles and everything and bring them to a certain spot. When we see the other scientists, we never see them. So they get taken out the city. He doesn't want to leave because his daughter Angela is left in the city and she got into a car accident. And so like the entire like city is being overrun, right? And Umbrella realized they can't contain it, so they tell all the people to go home. It would have been nice to see the people running the streets all scared and all that, but they would have to pay all the extras. And of course, all the money has to go for the CGI, which some of it was not used very well. We get the liquors from like the first movie, but we get more of them in this one. But they're more CGI looking than they were in the first, and you can they kind of look a little realistic, but they look too shiny and glossy and everything. And so Jill and like her cop friend and a woman named Terry, who's a reporter, they take refuge inside like a church. And so there they meet this guy there and this one pastor who's feeding his sister people because she's been zombified. And you really get the sense of desperation for him. He loves his sister, but he can't part ways with her. Well, anyway, he get ate by his sister. Jill takes his sister out, and then the liquor show up. And it's weird. When the liquor eats fresh, like meat or whatever, it's supposed to mutate into an uber liquor, like from the first movie, but it never does that. So that's kind of weird that he forgot his own continuity, and Paul wrote this movie. Well, Alice, she's roaming the streets. She puts some clothes on. And speaking of clothes, Mila actually designs all her outfits for the movies. And she's really good at that. And so she gears herself up. But here's the thing. At first, when I first saw this movie, I thought it was so cool how Alice like busts through like the window of the church on the motorcycle and just started shooting up the liquors and everything. But now that I look at it, they tried to power her up, to try to make her look too awesome and everything. Because the mirror she busts through is like on this, like it's like high up. So you have to be like high up in the air to bust through it. How did the motorcycle get that high up in the air? And her just busting through like the window and everything. How did she even know that there are liquors in there? And so it's just kind of, they tried to power her up, kind of like an 80s action star, which I've never seen those 80s action movies and stuff with like Sly and Arnold and stuff. I never watched those. I'm more of a 90s action guy where like martial arts and more realistic stuff came into play. So just like, when I first saw that, I was like, what, like in my early 20s, probably like 21, 20 something, I don't know, something like that. But now when I'm looking, I'm just kind of like, it's a bit too much. And so she beats him up with ease. And it's just weird seeing her beat up all these big monsters and zombies as skinny as she is. But you gotta remember, she has been modified because we see it in her veins. And so like, she clashes with like the new cast and everything, but she helps them get through the city into like a safe spot, only to be contacted by that of like Charles and everything. And he tells them, like he can get them out the city, but they have to help him. At this time, Carlos and his partner are being overrun, and some of them have been getting bit. When they're inside a hospital, they see Umbrella left like, these giant crate boxes for them, but inside are weapon cases, empty weapons and stuff. I mean, an empty weapon case box. And so, like, they realize that they're expendable. Umbrella does not care about them no more. But who is it for? Well, it's for Nemesis and everything. Why this movie wasn't called Resident Evil Nemesis, I have no idea. But he is our big monster bad of like the movie. And it's the dude from the first movie, I forget his name, Matt, I think it was, the love interest of like Alice and stuff. The brief love interest, the one she kind of had like a little like flirty eye look interest and stuff. He got put in the Nemesis program and he got turned into this big hulking beast. And so they said for this movie, they wanted him to act just like he did in the video game, just like appearing out of random and shooting the place up. He works for Umbrella and he takes out all the stars. Now, when I saw the stars and I saw that the cowboy, the sniper dude, I assumed he was from the video game because of the cowboy hat and the way he acted. But nope, he's made up. And this is when LJ is the only one spared inside the police station because he's just a civilian and a minimal threat. And so he later meets up with Carlos and all of them at the school looking for Angela. And we meet Angela. And she's this cutesy wootsy kind of kid and everything. So they realize after saving her life, we get a nice dog scene again. I love the zombie dogs, man. They're awesome. One thing about the Resident Evil movies, they don't have all those monster animals and stuff and bugs. They did have it in one movie, the one before the last at the ending, but then all that went away because they retconned everything again. They realize that she's been infected on a high level like Alice, but she's kept in check with the antivirus, and she has a case of the antivirus. And we find out that like this is why the T virus was created to regenerate her cells that are like dying in her body and stuff. That's causing her to have paralysis and stuff. And so like, so she doesn't end up like her father. And Angela, dude, I can't believe how grown up Sophie is. This movie came out so many years ago, and like, like 19, 20 years ago, and like, she's all grown up now. But basically, she is the reason why the T virus was created, because she was gonna have paralysis and stuff. And the T virus is supposed to like, regenerate like your dead cells, whatever, or damaged cells. And so her father did not want her to be stuck in a wheelchair like him. This later gets retconned, and I'll explain it at the end of the movie. Because what happened to Angela is quite shocking in the fandom. And so like, they have to hurry up and get like to this one rendezvous point so they can get on a helicopter. And so at this point, you realize something. There are no zombies no more. And you don't realize until they show up at the end of the movie. So all that cool zombie stuff is now gone, and you completely forget about that as you're going through the movie. So they get to like the rendezvous point. There's tons of like Umbrella agents, and they have to fight their way through to get on the helicopter. This is like what like Umbrella's been waiting for. And the guy who's like in charge and stuff, whose name I completely forget, but he's made up. Oh, Tim Kaine. So he's made up, Timothy Kaine. So he's made up for the movie. Everybody who works for Umbrella seems to be foreign for some reason, but yet they live in America. So he wanted to take the T virus and like, militarize it, make it into a weapon. They made Nemesis, but something happened to Alice where it bonded with her cells. So it doesn't have the appearance of like a monster. So she's super strong and fast and all that. And she can sense certain things. And her body can heal itself very quickly, if it's not too damaged. So they have her and Nemesis fight each other. And so it looks like she kills him when she stabs him through the chest, but then she realizes it's Matt. She doesn't want to take the kill shot, so then I'll like, screw you, we'll just go with him. He turns on them, and then they fight their way through all the bad guys because a nuke is coming and to hit Raccoon City. And so like, they have to get on the airplane, and when they do, she gets hit with shrapnel before they even get on the airplane. She gets hit in the face. So I'm thinking to myself, oh, they're getting rid of Alice. So then they're on like the helicopter, then the nuke goes off, and then the plane goes all like crazy and stuff like that. And so like you see once again like there's shrapnel and it's finna impale that of Angela. So Alice jumps in the way and she gets stabbed in the gut and there's blood gushing through her mouth. They crash land. The umbrella people find her, but they only find her and her face is all black. I'm like, oh yeah, they killed her behind because they want the real Jill to take over. Nope. This is when we get the news scene of her in a tank and she's been rejuvenated and now her powers have been increased. She's given to some type of psionic like telekinesis type power. She can move things with her mind. And so she kills everybody there in the room except for Dr. Isaacs. And when she's trying to escape, she's looking at like a camera looking at her. And there's a guy on the monitor and he can see her. And all of a sudden, she can transmit her power through the camera, through the computer screen, and onto him. And he bleeds through all like his orifices and stuff. And it's just like, holy crap. When me and my friends saw that, we like, oh, that's so cool. Basically, she takes on the powers of one of the Ashford women in like the video games. And so, like, when she tries to escape, there's tons of guards. But then all of a sudden, a black, like, SUV or van shows up. And it's Carlos, it's Jill, and it's LJ. And they're all dressed in umbrella attire. I'm like, no. Were they in on this the entire time, betraying her? No, they're just playing a ruse. And so they got her so they can like get her out of there. But Dr. Isaacs is the one who lets them all escape. We see Angie in the back of the car. They ask if she's okay, and she has a dazed and look expression on her face. Her eyes have like the Umbrella logo, which means she's being brainwashed. She's under Umbrella's control. So then the movie ends. And so like, I'm like, holy crap, what's the third movie gonna be like? Because she's now under their control. And I thought it was gonna be like this big thing, but then they do like a time jump in the world's dead, and it's like a Mad Max desert type movie. I'll explain that a little bit later. But basically, I was not my camera over. I was very shocked that had a third movie handle some of these characters. Jill disappears. Angela disappears. Now Jill will show up in later movies. But Angela, my God, I don't know why they did this. She doesn't appear in none of the movies anymore. And the question that many people ask is why? She's completely gone from the movie series. Even her explanation in this movies has been completely retconned. Basically, it turns out the T-virus was supposed to help a woman named Alicia Marcus. And Dr. Marcus is the one who created T-virus to help his daughter who has progeria. Basically, it makes you look older than what you are, and it makes your body cells older too and stuff. You're basically a young, old person. And it's kind of like, well, hold up. That's not why the T-virus got created. It was created for Angela and her, so she wouldn't be paraplegic. But this get completely retconned and everything. And fans don't understand why. Nobody understands why. And nobody has commented on why. But there is a tie-in novel from that of the second movie to that of the third, which I do not take as canon. Because, okay, here's the thing. It explains what happened to Angela. Alice, who's programmed, murders that of Angela, and because of that it snaps her out of mind control and she leaves the group. But none of this is ever mentioned in none of the movies. Also, the reason why I don't think it's canon is because they give Alice a new name in the tie-in novel. Remember, she still has memory loss and she never regains it, and so she had an original name back in the day. This gets retconned in the last movie. And so I don't consider that canon. So it's very odd and strange how they just get rid of characters and write them completely off with like, you know, with just like no care in the world and stuff. I will say that Apocalypse is my all-time favorite live action Resident Evil movie, next to that of the first and then the third. But all the rest, I just can't stomach. And you gotta give it up for Mila Djokovic. She is an amazing action star. And a lot of people don't give her credit for that. Whenever people think of action stars, they always mention men like Arnold Schwarzenegger, Sly Stallone, Claude Van Damme, Jackie Chan, Jet Li, and stuff like that. But nobody ever mentions the females like Mila Djokovic. I can't think of the lady name from the Underworld movie. Kate Beckinsale, that's it. Lucy Lawless and everything. You know, those women throw down. And Mila, for like, it feels like a decade, was just killing it on the movie scene in live action movies and stuff. She does the majority of her own stunts. The ones they won't let her do, the ones that either she can't or the ones that are too dangerous for her, and she still wants to do them. Like, there's a scene in this movie that's so awesome. A little bit weird and out of context now when you think about it, but it was cool when you saw it. It was when she was running downside the building. And it's a really huge building, but they wouldn't let her do it. They let her do about 50 to 100 feet, but the other like 100, they would not let her do. And she's game for like all of that, you know what I'm saying? And people really should respect that fact out of her. Like I said before, is she perfect? No, but I do feel like the flaws that she had in the past, she is starting to learn from them. Like when people get hurt on the set. Like I've told you before in the first movie, how I listened to the audio commentary, and it has to do with the dude who played Spence. Basically, he was pissed at her at that moment in the movie because remember the scene when the liquor bit him and he started to transform and she's all like, she said something that he said like, I'm missing you already. And then she hits him with the axe. I assume it was movie trickery and she's just like hitting like the floor or something like that. But apparently she actually hit him with the, rubber axe. And it cut him. He was pissed. And when you listen to the commentary, she sounds very smug and it's all like, he's just like whining and, like he needs to get over it. He acting like a big girl. Like she acted like that, you know what I'm saying? And I was all like, dude, you hit the dude. You cracked his head open. Like have some sympathy for the man. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, you know what I'm saying? Like you hurt that dude and everything. Because you made a mistake, like you botched the move and everything. But then as years went on, she has had more sympathy for her co-stars and everything. Like somebody died on the set of one of the later movies and she had like production shut down and she did something really nice for like I think like his that person's family, that like for the person that died and everything. It was something she did that was so touching. I can't remember, but she is learning from her mistakes. And yes, getting hit in the head and bleeding is different from dying. But she, like most stars, they will just kind of like not address it, or they wouldn't shut down production, or they'll just say, ooh, I feel sorry about that. But she actually had some remorse for that person dying on set, because it was her movie and, and an accident went wrong and, that person's dead as a result of that, So I really hate when people like give her like, hate and stuff. She doesn't deserve it. Like for the most part, she is squeaky clean. Like you don't hear much bad stuff about her in Hollywood, like period. You know what I'm saying? And the only reason why I heard of like that one bad thing with the axe is because it was on the commentary and she sounded so smug and arrogant and stuff. And yeah, there's that video of her being interviewed and her getting really pissed at the interviewer. And I think she like tossed papers around or knocked the drink over or something like that. And it's only because they brought up her father and her father did something very shady back in the past. And that really hurts her, you know what I'm saying? And, she probably got blindsided by like that interviewer and stuff. And even when family do wrong, people still have their backs depending on who they are, and what they do. And, she probably like really loves her father and everything. And that really hurt her that lady would bring that up, you know what I'm saying? And, but other than that, she seems like such a cool person and everything. And people really should respect the fact that she is an amazing action star. But the funniest thing about her being an action star is how like it almost never happened. I believe in the first movie, her and Paul weren't together, I think. And so originally, she didn't have that many action scenes, and she was literally about to quit the movie until she went to the hotel and she told him plain and simple she wants to talk to Paul. She put on a skimpy outfit and told about, there needs to be some revisions in this thing because, like, she loves, like, ninja movies and like stuff like that, and like she really wanted to get into like the action of it all because basically her character was the one always being saved by Michelle Rodriguez's character. And so Michelle Rodriguez action scenes got cut as a result. That wasn't that spooky. All right, well, I shall talk to y'all later. Bye.